And broadcasting from Free America across the interwebs. Going to talk about guns, freedom, and the truth until dawn, and our mystery bushcraft. Is that you making all that noise, Dusty? Or no, that's Drew Penn. Try and settle down there. All right, so let's see. I remember I had a little rant set up for tonight to start with. So I think it went something like this. If you live in, let's say, some socialist state somewhere over in Europe or anywhere else for that matter, and basically the government, like Venezuela or whatever, or the European bureaucracy, hegemony over there, tells you basically they're going to give you free this, free medical care, 6 months paid vacation, subsidized. You get I think 2 people that won a Nobel Prize, 2 economists, thought that everybody should get $7,500 subsidy to buy an electronic car or electric powered car and whatever. So if you could just take all the shit that these governments and bureaucracies promised that they would give you, and dying on your bed many years from now, and you took all that shit, would you be willing to trade up that pile of promises that they probably won't give you, but the stuff that they promised to give you? And would you be willing to trade all that crap that's supposed to be free for you, God knows why, but for one chance, just one chance to be free and come over here and lock and load? Because this is a symbol of freedom. As the famous Depeche Mode keyboardist Andrew Fletcher and law clerk of Scottish law clerk who wrote the was it the 9 Limitations of Government, one of the inspirations for the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and it said, so I think that this isn't just a badge of freedom. It doesn't feel free to own a Glock. It is free. I mean, this is like freedom. So give it a shot, Anyway, well, don't give it a shot like in a bad way. Give it a shot in the good way. All right, so this is Lock and Load Show right now. I had a couple interesting pop quizzes, and the first one about the whole problem with Europe is the whole big controversy over the EU and like Brexit with no deal and all that stuff over in the UK, and the whole thing about Muslim immigration was solved before, like when William Wallace fought the Battle of Stirling in the 1600s. I mean, if we go back a couple hundred years, he really wasn't the savior of Scotland. The person who kept the Ottoman Empire out of Europe, there's a famous person who did that. And I was wondering if anybody out there knew who it was. It was in the 1400s. And the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire sacked Constantinople, overthrew the Byzantine Empire in the 1400s, and then a couple 100,000 Turkish soldiers. He led Sultan Mehmed II, marched up through Greece, started marching up the Danube, and he ran into this famous European guy who stopped him. And everybody knows who he is, but they probably don't realize it. He actually, if Germany, France, and Britain would all be speaking Turkish and would be mostly reading the Quran now if it wasn't for this guy. But you probably may not place him with that fighting off the Turkish. Does anybody know who he is? I'm going to check the externals. I'll give some hints in a minute if nobody gets it, because I don't want to leave it hanging for too long. Got a Bushcraft pop quiz after this one, and then a challenge. Let's see if I could actually make it to the external. So many windows up at the same time. No, it wasn't.
Was he royalty?
Kind of. BC truck rebuild, repair, repurpose. It wasn't Chuck Norris. This is in the 1400s. It was not Chuck Norris. This is in the 1400s. He eventually became royalty in the land, his homeland, which will probably, if I tell you his homeland, it'll probably give it away. It was, back then it was known as Wallachia. So, and this is really goes to what Europe is, as far as, if you can get this. So basically, the Ottoman army of Turks started marching. They wanted to conquer Europe, and so the Sultan Mehmed of the Ottoman Empire marched a couple 100,000 soldiers through Greece up the Danube, started marching up the Danube. And when he hit Wallachia, he ran into this famous European cat. And no, it wasn't Chuck Norris.
But I mean, you're saying one man against the Ottoman Empire, only Chuck Norris could do that.
No, there was somebody who's more of a badass than Chuck Norris, believe it or
not.
What? Yes. This guy, you'll kick yourself for not getting it. The first hint is that it has something to do with Glocktober. Of course, they didn't have Glocks back then in the 1400s.
Good.
They had to use stuff like swords and shit, like stuff. I got a sword right here just because I knew I was going to be talking about it. Let's see, something like one of these. Okay, Dusty's cooking dinner, so I hear him scraping something off of his plate. Bratwurst. That's a lot of scraping for bratwurst. Can't you just roll bratwurst off your plate?
No, I'm rolling it off the skillet, bud.
You don't have tongs?
Oh, probably, but they're in the house.
Okay. All right, well...
I can't believe you can pick up that.
How many bratwurst are you cooking?
Dude, he can hear anything. I think it's making him hungry.
Probably.
No, I'm not hungry. I had my Irish McCann's steel cut oatmeals for breakfast. It's quite filling, and I'm feeling the burn still. So. Oh,
well, my bratwursts have a little bit of jalapeno in them.
Oh, I love jalapenos.
Me too.
Now,
okay.
Has anybody figured out who this guy in the 1400s in the land called Wallachia, who defeated the couple 100,000 Turks? Not all at once, but and he didn't really even have an army to start with. He used terror to do it. Is what he did. His own form of terror, and he was famous for it.
Well, it's not Vlad the Impaler.
Yes, that's him.
No way.
Yes.
Okay, well, he's from Romania, dude.
Wallachia is the old name for what became Romania later.
You guys talking about the stone of Dracula?
Yes, the Dracula. Vlad the Impaler was basically, he defeated, basically, what he did was Turkish scouts tried to assassinate him when he went to try and talk to the Turkish general, and he basically impaled them and a hell of a lot of Turks. So when the Turkish army got there, I think it was 10 stades in every direction, which is a stade is about 200 yards. So there was just people impaled on pikes for 2,000 yards in every direction. And birds were nesting on the entrails of their bodies. And it was, the way he thought about it was that if I just do this, then I'll save the lives of everyone else in the Turkish army, because they'll be afraid and they won't bother to fight. And I think how it goes is men don't fear death. They fear monsters. So that was his strategy, was to just scare the ever-living shit out of his enemies. And it worked. And so that, it really goes to the nature of how Europe is. I mean, and that's, I'm not suggesting that you impale all the Muslim immigrants, but it's just, my family experience in Europe was that in the 1940s, the Jewish people basically got lined up and dug a ditch and then got machine gunned by the Germans. And that was so disgusting, even Hitler wanted to throw up when he saw it. So he got Adolf Eichmann to come up with a more humane way of killing millions of people. And so that's how the death camps got started. So it's just Europe as a country. I mean, that was the National Socialists. And if you go, and when the American troops got to Germany, of course, well, nobody was a Nazi and nobody knew anything about the death camps. And they didn't know how anything like that could happen, because nobody knew nothing. Or Sergeant Schultz once said, I know nothing. But the nature of Europe is a very violent place. And so, and it just seems to me that the savior of Europe is Dracula, Vlad the Impaler. That's who saved them from being part of the just being part of the Ottoman Empire. And so when my family finally made it to America, well, I appreciate all that in America. They don't do that kind of thing. They don't line people up and because of whatever your religion is, and just shoot them and drop them in a ditch. And so we have a Bill of Rights and a list of things that the government can't do, and it's very heartening to have. I was very heartened when Kavanaugh got appointed to the Supreme Court and confirmed and sworn in, because there's somebody that's going to fight for the rule of law. And I mean, the difference between men, how men settle their disputes. And like Prepper channels always talk about what it's like without the rule of law. But it's not, men don't live in a savage kingdom like in Europe. Europe has been in the past, at least not in America. We have this thing called the rule of law. And it's not just that you're innocent until somebody proves you guilty in a court of law. I mean, the court system isn't perfect here, but lions in the wild, every dispute is settled by Mortal Kombat. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to settle every dispute with Mortal Kombat. I'd rather have a inefficient, crappy court system than have to settle every dispute with Mortal Kombat. But that's how lions settle every dispute. And men are not lions. So I like the rule of law, and I hope it's up for a long time. Now, that being said, I do have a mystery bushcraft pop quiz. Now that we've passed the, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, yes, vampires don't like silver. So I'm prepared for vampires this Halloween. I'll just say that. Okay. Before I get to the bushcraft mystery challenge, I want to do a bushcraft pop quiz. Can you identify this sound? I have two different samples. The first one is kind of echoey because it was recorded in a cave, and I think they processed it a little. But here's the first one. Anybody know what that is? Okay, I'm gonna play the second one. That ought to be easier. Anybody? It's a bushcraft item. Jeepers.
A bushcraft item's making that noise?
Yeah. You should be able to craft one of these. It's not too hard. All you need is some pitch and some candle wax and, well, I don't want to tell you exactly what the bushcraft item is, so that's basically all you need. And some kind of tool, like a knife or something.
Isn't bushcrafting something that like Australians do?
No, all kinds of people do bushcrafting. Here's the first one that's kind of processed and echoey. And here's the second sound version, which is easier to figure out what it is.
Bushcrafting isn't somebody going out into the desert with a Bowie knife saying, you know, "G'day."
Is it like a whistle or something?
What? What did you say?
Like a call? Some kind of a wooden call?
I can't hear you. You said a wooden call? It's not wood.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear the question.
Come on, what does that sound like to you guys? It's not that hard.
Sounds like the
Sounds like a
from a poorly dubbed movie.
yeah. It sounds like something from Jurassic Park. Is Jeff Goldblum gonna pop out of the lab?
It's not from Jurassic Park, and Jeff Goldblum was not associated with the sound in any way, shape, or form. Come on, what does that sound like to you?
It's a T-Rex.
That is not a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Okay, I'll give like 10 seconds out there to the external. I only saw one person out there so far, so then I'll just spill the beans on this one. So
is it Night Strike?
No, it's not Night Strike. I'll play it one more time, and then if you can't get it, I'll just say what it is. All right. So if you okay. Well,
trap? Something like a noisemaker?
It makes noise, obviously.
Like a trap or something to warn you, an audible warning?
It could be used in that way. Okay, I'll just tell you what it is. It's a bone whistle.
Didn't I say whistle earlier?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't hear him say whistle. But yeah, it's a bone.
It's a T-Rex.
It's a bone whistle. Okay. So you could find a marrow of a small marrow, and you cut like a little notch in the top, and then you pour some pitch or candle wax kind of like halfway up to before the notch, and you've got yourself a bone whistle. And so that's a bushcraft item. So my bushcraft challenge, I have the advanced challenge for the really intense bushcrafters. Where's my, oh, here it is. Second. The advanced challenge is to make one of these. And this was, I was talking about the movie I saw on when we were texting earlier in the week. You probably don't remember it, but I got a regular bushcrafting challenge for like regular folks, and then a tough one for the advanced guys. So the advanced bushcraft challenge, here's the movie I saw. Kurt Russell, make a bone tomahawk. That's the advanced bushcrafting challenge. So this was a very interesting movie. And yes, that is not makeup. That's actually Kurt Russell showed up on the set with that beard, by the way. It's a tactical Western style beard or something, but he just showed up that way. They didn't do any makeup. That's him. So I have some. Let me. Yeah, in that particular movie, which was a cross between a Western and a horror movie. Let me see if I could screen share the page. Most people haven't heard of Bone Tomahawk, but basically, from what I could tell, it looked like a jawbone and part of a skull that was sharpened with probably, in the time period, ceramic pottery. Because I use ceramic rods to sharpen my knives, so ceramic pottery would do it. Let's see here. Where's my? There it is. I have some screenshots.
Is there any good tutorials online on YouTube
on
how to do it?
On how to craft a bone tomahawk? You're gonna have to figure that one out on your own. But basically, it's you take a bone. The one in the movie that it was all bone. The handle, the axe head, everything. The ones that when I did a search for it on the internet, they had sometimes the handles were made out of wood, and just the axe head was bone. I'm gonna do a screen share. And I got that movie because it was when I was going through Walmart. It was a Kurt Russell movie. It was a Western, and I like Westerns. And it was only like $3.75 at the discount bin at Walmart. I was like, wow, a Kurt Russell Western for $3.75. And it was pretty damn good.
Dude, you think all movies are good?
And yes, well, you can't watch Captain Kangaroo and Bugs Bunny all the time, Squib. So, I mean, at least I can. But anyway, let's see. There's a lot of. It's shockingly brutal. That's very true. Kurt Russell plays town sheriff of a very small town called Bright Hope, and basically there's two random white guys wandering through the wilderness happen to cross into somebody's cemetery graveyard, and then they get into trouble, and the people who tend that graveyard chase these white guys back into this town called Bright Hope, and they kidnap one of the bad guys was dead, but the other was locked up in jail because Kurt Russell had shot him for being a putz in the bar, and a doctor was trying the lady doctor was trying to treat the bullet wound from when Kurt Russell had shot him, and so these particular unusual brand of Native Americans, cave dwellers, kidnap where they tear apart a stable hand, steal some horses, kidnap the lady doctor and the prisoner. And so Kurt Russell goes into the bar, and they find a local Native American Indian, and they show him the arrow that had been, I guess, shot into the jail or something. And they say, well, you know what tribe kidnapped these people? Because here's their arrow. And he looks at the arrow and says, yeah, I know who did this. And so Kurt Russell, okay, who was it? And he said it was these cave dweller troglodytes. And he's like, troglodytes? Yeah, it's not an Indians. It's not Native American Indians. It's troglodytes. It's like, what the hell is a troglodyte? And so Kurt Russell, determines to ride out with whatever help he can get, and the doctor's husband, one-armed gentleman, and his backup deputy, an older gentleman. And basically, the Native Indian says, Kurt Russell asks him, "Do you think we can capture these guys and free our prisoner?" And he says, "How many of these troglodytes are there out there?" And he says, the Indian says, "It doesn't matter. You don't stand a chance. It doesn't matter how many of them there are." Yeah. And so in the movie, they use that bone whistle in several ways: a signaling device, and basically, they kind of used it also. It wasn't just signaling and communications; it was a psychological warfare weapon. Like when they put Germans put the siren in the Stuka dive bombers. When they blow that whistle out in the wilderness, it sounds like kind of like a wolf or something really scary, because what these troglodytes was basically, they didn't speak at all. They didn't have any language, and they just lived in the caves. And they actually had the bone whistle implanted in their larynx at birth, basically. So they cut a hole, and so all members of this particular clan of troglodytes had these whistles implanted in their larynx, and they couldn't figure out what it was until I think the doctor's husband killed one of the troglodytes and actually cut it out of his throat, because he thought he couldn't tell what it was. And the dialogue is really good in that movie. There was a line, some Mexican bandits trying to ambush them before they even get to where the lady doctor is being held captive, and where the troglodytes live in their cave. And one of the armed gentlemen basically he shoots the scouts for the Mexican bandits like come up to the camp, and he has a string. The more experienced outdoorsman has a string with like alarm for the perimeter, and as soon as he hears the perimeter alarm, he just shoots wherever the sound was. And so he basically, the dialogue line was somebody was sleeping and hears two shots, and like the two guys fall over dead, and the guy that wakes up says, "What happened?" And so the deputy says, "Well, he just educated two Mexicans on the true meaning of manifest destiny." And so the dialogue is pretty good. I can see why Kurt Russell liked this film. The characters are pretty interesting, and they're kind of like set out, and basically it's like four doomed men ride out is what it is. To face like this troglodyte tribe, so then the bandits steal the horses, and then they have to walk away, and one of the guys has a broken tibia before the whole thing even starts, the doctor's husband. So it's a really brutal Western. But let me get to what a bone tomahawk looks like. That's what the preferred weapon of these troglodytes. The one in the movie didn't have a bone handle like this one here. Didn't have a wood handle. It was bone. And this is like from what I could tell, the one in the movie, it looked like the handle was the jawbone, and the axe head was the skull. And so I thought it would be really interesting if anybody could actually make a bone tomahawk. I'm going to try and find some better pictures. I don't think there's a YouTube tutorial on how to make a bone tomahawk. As far as it seemed easier just than, like if you look at this picture, it looks like somebody notched a spot for a wood handle and stuck it into the bone, whatever this axe head bone is, and then used leather to also tie it down and secure it. But the one in the movie seemed to be one piece of bone, and at one point, one of the troglodytes tries to shove the whole thing in Kurt Russell's mouth. Let's see. Here's something closer to what it was. Here, it looked a little more like this. I don't know if these are teeth or what, but This would be a real tough bushcraft challenge. First, you have to find enough bone. And the reason I thought that, like, my friend over at Scotland Fox Company Prepping might be able to do this is because I saw that on his last camping video, he collects sheep bones from where he goes camping. There's a lot of sheep, and he was collecting some bones, and you ought to be able to make this out of that. So I'm not sure. Here's some teeth up here, and I don't know what these are here. So this is more like a club but the one in the movie had a sharp axe head, but it was all bone, no wood. It might have been wrapped in leather. So yeah, here's Kurt Russell's in his beard. So
this was a very specific challenge.
Well, yeah, but for regular people who don't want to, who think a bone tomahawk is beyond you, the regular bushcraft challenge is just for regular people. Just go outdoors and do something bushcrafty. And if you could take a few pictures or a quick little video and post it, and then just send me a link or post a link on this video, I'd really love to see what you can do. I mean, even if it's just go outside and build a campfire, do something. But yeah, if you're hell bent for leather and want to build a bone tomahawk, here's one. Native America buffalo jawbone. It's a war club, not a tomahawk. This wasn't just a club in the movie. It was actually sharp. Oh, here's one. Beaded Indian jawbone tomahawk. Yeah, so this part was like sharpened. And so I'm assuming that Native Americans that would use ceramic pot or pottery to sharpen the bone. So like a potted plant, it could do it. If you didn't have like Spyderco sharpening rods, like, I mean, I have, but I don't happen to have jawbone to do it with. So yeah, it looks like a jawbone of is that a cow? You could probably do it with a sheep if it was a big sheep. So this movie was released in 2015, it was, let's see, it was violent, but it wasn't violent in the way that it was more, it had elements of a horror movie, because like if you just listen to that tomahawk sound when they're outdoors and they know that they've been spotted by this troglodyte clan. Oh, here's one. Tomahawk Cherokee bone handle tomahawk. Okay, that's a steel one. No fair. Let's close that one. There's Kurt Russell. And so the DVD I thought was well worth it. It had good dialogue. It had really good characters. Oh yeah, here's the armed gentleman whose claim was that he claimed in the bar that he killed over 100 Indians, and naturally the Native American Indian wasn't too happy with that. Let's see. 25 best ideas about bone tomahawk on Pinterest. Western movie in the hate. Yeah, one of the actors was in the Hateful Eight. Kurt Russell was in the Hateful Eight. So there's a bone handle and a bone axe head. And it looks like they cut a notch and in the through like a leg bone or something, and then put a piece of bone for the axe head through it, and probably used binary glue and some kind of cordage here to hold it into place. Oh, what's this one? Yeah, that was a little closer to it. Bone tomahawk and club. So I guess one side is a club, but the other side was sharp. Yeah, that's here we go. That's kind of what it was, except I don't know, is that a wood handle or just a leather wrapping around and cordage, leather wrapping around a bone? Yeah, that's leather wrapping around a bone. I don't think that's a wood handle. It looks like there's a bone here, and I'm not sure, but it looks like leather wrapping around a bone. Anyway, this part is bone. And so basically you sharpen this with some kind of ceramic, and then you'll have to cut a notch to detach a handle and use some kind of binary glue and cordage. So basically they go and they have to fight the troglodytes. And boy, the troglodytes have two women that are like, they're pregnant females, and this cave dweller type, I mean, the pregnant females don't have eyes. They have, where their eye sockets are, they have like bones that were inserted at birth or something. So they like gouged out the eyes and put in bones. I mean, it's like weird. It has those horror movie elements in it, combined with a Western. And the whole thing about the graveyard and troglodytes, it's not real. As far as, I mean, there were cave dwellers, but they made it up for the movie, and they weren't trying to be authentic in that way. But there's a lot of things. It was a 28-day film shoot, and it looked great. I mean, I thought the cinematography was great. It had basically the actors it was like, oh, we're on horses riding with Wyatt Earp or something, because he was in Tombstone, obviously, Kurt Russell. So that's where a lot of people know him in Westerns. So this was like a surprisingly good discovery. If you like Westerns, I'd say check it out. The price was right. Basically, I saw the Star Wars Solo DVD for like Blu-ray for $25, and then I saw a Kurt Russell movie in the bargain bin for $3.75. I'm like, well, that's a no-brainer. Let's go with the $3.75 Western movies because I like Westerns. All right, that's enough about the mystery challenge. But yeah, just get outside and do some kind of bushcraft if this is beyond you, or just do something bushcrafty. Post a video. I will. Go to the beach, build a campfire, whatever. Do some kind of bushcrafty thing. Set up a shelter. Do something bushcrafty and post a video on it. And so that's my mystery bushcraft challenge. Now, I know that somebody wanted to rant about some Second Amendment stuff, and I've been rambling on for quite some time. So I'll shut up, and maybe we can do the South China Sea later. Find my way back here.
Do the South China now.
Is Squibb still around? Oh, well,
No,
he's our Marine guy.
Continue with what you're doing. I'm not ready.
Okay, you're not ready. Okay, I got plenty to continue it. So some interesting things in over the weekend and even last week. It's been a crazy week but over the weekend, China got slammed on their stock market because apparently they put out that they've reduced their renminbi, the RRR, the triple R rate, their renminbi reserve requirements. And that's so funny that would crash their stock market because after the 2008 in banking crisis, financial crisis in the United States, where there was basically a mass outflow of money market accounts in the morning, and they had to shut them all down, or the entire world economy would have just seized up. And they basically passed some laws that said they have to do stress tests on banks. And the funny thing is, we just had stress tests on a lot of the major banks in the United States, and the ones that failed got a waiver from the Federal Reserve, even though they failed the stress test. Basically, the renminbi is the name for like the Chinese currency, also known as the yuan. It's the same thing. It means the people's money, and because that's the People's Republic of China, so that's their like logo or whatever. But so in China, now this is kind of like a prepper thing with the economic collapse. In China, they have a renminbi reserve requirement, which means it's basically, in America, it's called like the cash to deposit ratio, which is it's so low. in like all the Western countries, and we have the Italian banking crisis, which is like insane over there in Europe, and that goes to the whole socialist thing that's happening in Europe. But and so over the weekend, the Chinese government reduced the renminbi reserve requirement because the government wants to collect taxes from the banks, and if the banks pay out the government of China the money that they want, the Chinese government wants to collect, to run their government, their central planned government, then the reserve, the money they won't have any money to fund the reserves. But basically, all the banks are insolvent, and the cash to deposit ratio, like in the Western world, is like for every $100 in a bank, there's like 3 cents or something, of actual cash. The cash to deposit ratio is ridiculous. And in Italy, and even in America, I mean, but especially in Italy, the interest rates of the bonds go up, and maybe Dusty could talk about this. But when the interest rates of the bonds go up, the value of the bonds go down, and basically, it's not just the banks that are insolvent; the government's insolvent, and the politicians in the government they need loans from the EU, aka Germany, and they're not doing any austerity. I mean, they're promising their people more free shit, and they aren't gonna knuckle under to the German fascists, right? They want like money to fund their government, and they don't want to cut spending. And the bonds, that's why the interest rates are shooting up, because you would have to be crazy to trust the government of Italy or the insolvent banks or the insolvent governments. It's like, well, let me bet like my principal of all my life savings on this bond, and because they're going to pay me a really good interest rate, never mind that you won't actually get your principal back. I mean, there's a pretty good chance that you'll never see it, because all the and the problem is all the banks in the whole planet are tied together by these gigantic bets called derivatives. So, and when they passed the 2008 new banking laws with all the stress tests that they're supposed to do, the one thing they changed is that derivatives have to be paid off before the depositors. So if a bank goes under, the CEO will get paid first, and then all whatever golden parachutes they have will get paid, and then the derivative holders get paid. And the banks, when you put money in a bank, they just take your money and they make these derivative bets. It's not your money anymore. You're a creditor to the bank when you put money in the bank, and it's their money, and they can do what they want. And he plays these giant bets on, and if they guess wrong. The problem is that there have been so many bets placed, and some other bank has to cover this bet. And there's like multiple quadrillion dollars worth of derivative bets, and all the banks are connected, and these derivative bets have to be paid off first. So if the banks freeze up, there's no way any depositor is going to see any money, because they're last in line. So that's why I like, when you have gold or silver or even cryptocurrencies in your own possession, the bank can't take it away from you. And if you want to go use some credit cards to go buy like to the local gun shop and buy a gun. It's like there's some credit card companies that don't want to give credit, don't want to work with gun shops or stuff like that. It's like that's this whole thing about this cash society is they want to control what you can do with what is supposed to be your money in this cashless society. And that's not freedom. That's fascism. And that's the whole funny thing is it's the whole concept that my favorite conspiracy theory that the Prime Minister and Queen of England are actually reptilian lizard people from outer space because they want to control the world. Well, if they wanted to control the planet, they should, instead of trying to be the Queen of England or the Prime Minister of Britain, that they ought to just open a bank. Anyway, now that Squib's back, can we talk about the Chinese Navy? I need to have a drink 1 second. All right, so the reason, I think we lost Dusty. So, because banks basically enslave people by indebting them. They're debt to basically you have to pay off debts. And the problem is, like if you look at Venezuela, and the hyperinflation there is like 3 million% or something ridiculous. But let's say something similar and the banking system freezes in America and the fiat currencies has problems and we have some kind of hyperinflation. Let's say it's only 1,000% hyperinflation and not 3 million% like Venezuela. That would be ridiculous, 1,000% inflation. But let's say you owe some debt to a bank for a mortgage or a credit card. If hyperinflation is 1,000% and the maximum rate on a credit card is that they can charge you if you're late on every payment is 29%, you think they're going to settle for 29% when hyperinflation is 1,000%? No. Whatever the laws are, they're gonna try and charge you at least whatever the inflation rate is. And that's the whole thing about after 2020, all the financial agreements are based on the IBOR rate, the International Bank Overnight rate for borrowing, and all that's going away. That particular rate is disappearing in 2020. They're going to base all the interest rates on the planet, including mortgages and credit cards and any kind of debt, on something new that nobody knows what it is. And so if you think that you can borrow money and pay like 10% or 29% because that's the agreement you had, when hyperinflation it jumps up to some ridiculous number, no, they aren't going to like. They're banks. They don't make money that way. So that's the good thing about silver and gold is it's actually the banks are out of the loop, and that's what a lot of people like about cryptos. Except some of them, the banks control them completely, and they're centralized. And there's very few decentralized ones. The one that took a big bump over the last week was Ripple. That's the banker one, but it like doubled in value like almost overnight. And I think somebody like Squib was making fun of Ripple because Ripple used to be some kind of alcohol back in the day, but now it's like this bank, all the banks control it completely. So I've been looking at the different cryptos that have been going up, and I saw Ripple double in a day, and I was like, well, that would have been nice. I could have doubled the value of all my cryptos if I just sunk it all into Ripple. But it's just, if the banks go under, that whole thing will just freeze up, and you won't be able to get anything. I don't like centralized cryptos, and that's a centralized one. Tron went up, TRX. I don't own any of it, but I was watching it, and it's cheap. It had a massive percentage rise, but it's like one of those penny stock, except it's not a stock; it's crypto. I like Digibyte, but because that's a very decentralized one. So I'm sticking with the basics for now. I haven't gone really into, any of the penny cryptos that have a chance. If the bankers want to use Ripple, when the fiat currencies, then it'll do well. But it's just so centralized that they can do whatever they want with it. And there's just a few coins that aren't going to make it, and you'll lose everything. So it's like dangerous. Crypto is dangerous. Gold and silver, the problem with gold and silver, if the banking system collapses, is that most people don't have it in physical. Most people have exposure to silver or gold because if they want that in their 401k, well, they'll go buy an exchange traded fund that mirrors the price. So if you want to buy silver, you could go into your 401k and tell your investment guy to say, "Okay, buy some SLV." That's the exchange traded fund for silver. Or you could go and say and buy GLD. That's the exchange traded fund for gold. But it's all hypothecated paper, and there's no physical. It's not backed by anything. In other words, it's the same problem as, excuse me, it's the same problem as the cash deposit ratio. Like they got $100, you would deposit $100, they have 3 cents. And they fractional reserve banking, they lend it all out to other people or they place bets on derivatives. So the same thing with the GLD. There's no gold in a vault backing it up. It's just a computer algorithm that mimics the price. And if the banks freeze up, then you'll just be holding paper in your hand. And so if you look at $100 bill, if there's a problem with the fiat currency in the banking system, if you look at it, look at $100 bill. It's got a picture of somebody that's been dead for over 200 years and some numbers on it and a pyramid on the back, right? It's a Ponzi pyramid scheme. They just keep printing money. That's what, and ever since 1125, every fiat currency has eventually returned to its intrinsic value. It's just a piece of paper. Why are people working so hard for this piece of paper that's just a picture of a dead guy and some numbers on it? But that's the United States' main export. It's the world reserve currency, and for I don't know how much longer, but hey, I hope it keeps going. It kind of lets the United States control. It's a lot of political power to be the world reserve currency, but the problem with silver and gold is that because when the banking system freezes up, people say, "Well, you can't eat gold." Well, you also can't eat paper. You could actually cut up gold and put it in your food and eat it if you wanted to. I can't think of a reason why I would do that, but everybody that thinks they own gold has this hypothecated paper in their 401k, and they'll all be pissed because wait, I owned all this. I had like $1 million of GLD, and now it's not worth anything. I hate gold, and people will be like, "Well, gold sucks." Well, it doesn't have anything to do with actually physical gold. Physical gold has been money for over 5,000 years. I think J.P. Morgan said, "Gold is money, everything else is credit." That's James Pierpont Morgan, I believe, if that quote is correct. But because if the banking system freezes up, then it's going to be like people are just going to be so desperate, and they're going to want to blame somebody, and they're going to say, "Well, my gold certificates are worthless." Yeah, they're just as worthless as your paper hypothecated. It's just a piece of paper with some numbers written on it, and gold GLD certificates, they don't even have a picture of a dead guy on them. it's a crazy screwed up world. So I like having some physical silver and gold, and I like having some money in cryptos. I don't know what's going to happen with it. There's been a few currencies that popped over the last week. Tron was one of them. TRX. That's like a penny. It's like what, 2 or 3 cents, but it went up like it doubled or tripled or something. I don't know what it did, but it went up incredibly. That the chart looks like parabolic. And Ripple had the same deal. But I like Digibyte. That a lot of the cryptos have just been basically not going anywhere but sideways. So it's just one of those things I hang on to. I don't do investment advice, but that's just what I'm doing. So whatever. But so I am going to do some kind of bushcraft thing over the next week. I'm not sure what. If I make it bone tomahawk, if I go to the butcher shop and try and get the bones to do it, it'll probably take me a while to figure it out, because there's no YouTube video that I know of on how to do it. So I'll just have to really bushcraft figure it out. Feel free to leave comments and suggestions on that one. But it was really an interesting item. And it's a bushcrafting item. I mean, you need I've got a regular steel one, but making one out of just a bone that you find on the ground, like Ron did in his last camping video. Not the one with his wife and the digital filter that made her look like a leprechaun. I mean, that was funny. Anyway, okay. Somebody else talk for a while. Are you ready? Patrick yet? Or no, wait. Patrick I'm sorry, I meant Jared. Patrick is not going to be on the show tonight because his grandfather passed away, and he was at the funeral, and he's spending the evening with his wife in there and dealing with that. So my heartfelt condolences and peace. Hope you can find peace. Losing a grandparent sucks. Losing a parent sucks. It's just lost part of life. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no words that will help. But we're here if you ever want to talk to us about it. All right, I'm going to check the external really quick.
Okay, there was a great article, and I can't get you to pull. I can email it to you real quick, but it's from Framingham, Massachusetts. So this guy, it says, Framingham man charged with selling untraceable gun. And pretty much it says that they found this guy on a motor scooter who was carrying a Glock, and it's untraceable. Okay, but it had a serial number on the barrel. So they were able to find out through a long network. They traced where the barrel came from and who it was sold to. Another man in Massachusetts who has several felonies or whatever. So they tracked him down.
So it wasn't
it was a traceable gun.
Yeah, how could it be untraceable if somebody traced it? I mean, okay.
So they traced. Well, no, because it doesn't have a serial number, the frame, because it's an 80%. So a guy who has like a bunch of felonies bought an 80% kit.
Okay.
With his credit card. So it's got his name on it. So they traced the gun because the barrel had a serial number on it. Lots of barrels have serial numbers. So they traced the barrel back to him. And boom, they got him. They found who he was. But it's so funny that that's not the conclusion of the article. The conclusion of the article is well, what are we going to do about these untraceable guns? It's like, you fucking traced it. That was a traceable
Well, they
gun.
traced the barrel. Barrels.
The whole 80% kit was sold to that guy.
Yeah, so for people that don't know, why don't you describe what an 80% kit is?
What an 80% kit is, it's not that 80% is a made up term. It's not real at all. There is no such thing as an 80%. It's a marketing term. What it is the ATF deems in the United States, for some reason, because serial numbers were, long story short, when serial numbers were first started, they weren't for law enforcement to trace guns. They're for companies to pay attention to what's going on, or if certain serial number range has a screw up, you can fix it. So what happens is certain things like the frame or the receiver in this country are the things that are serialized. So what happens is that people found out you could just make them out of plastic. So what they do is they send an incomplete receiver or frame, and they send it to the ATF, and they say this is not a firearm. Do you guys agree? Can you approve this for sale? Anyways, so you order this thing online that's like a Glock without missing a bunch of milling procedures or a bunch of material. It looks like a Glock, but it cannot fire without lots of gunsmithing. So the ATF determined that it's not, you know what I mean? It's not easy for the general public to just buy these and mill them out and send them down the road and have, you know what I'm. So anyways, so what he did is, because of YouTube and other things like YouTube, there's lots of instructional videos on how to use these. So it kind of means that people who don't really know what they're doing can try to do it. I wouldn't really trust them unless if you really know what you're doing and you're really careful and you have a mill or a good drill press, because you'll screw it up every time. Anyways, so he has this 80% receiver. He milled out the area that needed to get milled out. He finished the trigger group, drilled all the trigger pins, and then installed the kit. Now, he's not allowed to have a firearm, so I don't know. At some point, he sold it to somebody else. So, but I mean, the moral of the story is they traced an untraceable gun, quote unquote untraceable gun. And on top of that, I don't know, $10 says they're gonna drop all these charges anyways, because that's what they do in Massachusetts. If he's a drug dealer or someone who illegally has a gun, they always end up dropping the charges. There's a couple of gun rights groups that are currently keeping a running list of every time they drop gun charges. It's never on a law-abiding citizen, though. It's only on people who are drug dealers and stuff and break the law a lot.
Yeah, usually the gun charges like that get thrown on as an add-on charges, so they can plea bargain for plea bargain purposes, and that's it. So let's see how much crap we can throw onto this charge, make it look really scary, and his lawyer can seem like, okay, I can get you off of this, that, and the other. You just plead out to this, and done deal. It's just a plea bargaining tool, pretty much.
Yeah, but anyways, I mean, what's important is the untraceable gun was easily traceable. They make
the barrel was. The barrel was.
Correct, the barrel was.
I mean, if they wanted it to be untraceable, he could have filed off the number on the barrel, but he didn't. Obviously, he didn't bother. Or he didn't care, or he intentionally wanted. He didn't. It wasn't on his list of things to make it untraceable.
Yeah, I mean, if this guy. I mean, the way it is in Massachusetts, it's so easy for criminals to get guns. I mean, I could tell anybody where to find guns right now.
Don't do it on my show, please.
Well, all you need to do is just head over into gang territory.
Don't tell anybody how to illegally do anything. I got enough.
I mean, my thing is they want to ban these. They're probably going to use this case because right now you can legally build one of these receivers. You can use one of these frames. You can mill out the frame, the plastic, and then you can create a 80%, or they call it an 80%. You can create your own Glock Gen 3. And a lot of people like them because you can buy them and they're already come with a huge undercut. They come with stippling on the frame. They can come with all, very aggressive stippling. And then, so instead of buying a Glock 19, you can buy your fancy slide. You can buy your barrel that's threaded with a compensator, your performance trigger. You're not wasting money on the stock pistol. So to me, that's the only reason why I see people even care about these setups. But
well, some people just like Some people just like building stuff, and they're hobbyists, and that's okay. You know,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
mean, I wouldn't mind building one, but I also don't want to spend $600 on building a Glock 19 Gen 3 or a Glock 17 Gen 3. So I don't really care, but it is kind of cool. Dead Horse has done a lot of videos on them, and
Well, mostly he builds the ARs. I didn't know he built handguns. I thought he just built
no,
the
he's done.
rifles.
He owns at least 4 or 5, I believe, of these Glock 19. Maybe I know I've seen 2 different completed 80% lower Glock 19.
Here's
Not Glock
my
19s.
here's my tomahawk. It's not bushcraft. It's a steel one. It's the SOG Fast Hawk.
So I just gotta laugh. Nice. I just gotta laugh at the article because they're like, we got to do something about these untraceable guns, which means what they want to do and what David Linsky, Representative David Linsky, wants to do is they want to ban all manufacturing in Massachusetts unless you have a license.
Manufacturing of anything? Oh, jeez.
No, manufacturing firearms. So right now
Oh,
you can legally build your own firearm right now.
I
So
thought they weren't
slide
going to let
fire.
you manufacture anything.
So I was just talking about firearms. So slide fire manufacturing. You know, like the not slide
Yeah.
fire. Those zip. You know, the zip, not a zip gun. Whatever. Anything you want to make from Home Depot, it's all going to be a no go. The shotguns, that's just a piece of wood and a pipe with another pipe. That's going to be illegal. So that's the plan, and it will most likely pass because floods don't care, and that's just the.
Well, it'll be
the
interesting
state.
with the 5-4 on the Supreme Court if SCOTUS actually starts hearing Second Amendment cases. We can hope. I know that Kavanaugh did something pro-gun on the D.C. I forgot what it was, whether it was just voting against the assault weapons ban or something like that. But now that he's on SCOTUS, I mean, maybe we'll get lucky and they'll start hearing Second Amendment cases. And
We'll see. I'm not going to hold my breath though, but it's just, I mean, these people. It's just such a fear mongering thing, a lot of. I mean,
well, and speaking of absolute people who are paying for this shit, like Bloomberg and a few other people, did you guys see the trending Wall Street Journal story that the female protester that cornered Arizona Senator Flake in the elevator was paid? She's paid by George Soros $151,000 a year salary, and she got a $21,000 bonus this year. And so she's a paid protester, and she comes in, and the TV cameras are there. Barges into the elevator and starts screaming about women and stuff. And she's a paid by George Soros protester that works for like a political activism corporation that's run by George Soros or financed by George Soros. I mean, literally, she's a paid protester, and she goes to the elevator and starts screaming at Jeff Flake. And so then he demands a week delay. I mean, this whole thing is like, it's like people are trying to buy they're trying to pay for the political outcomes that they want.
Did you ever see that article with Bloomberg where he said when he gets greeted at the pearly white gates, he's going to get the VIP treatment?
I don't think he's going to the pearly white gates.
It's like that's his mindset, though. Like, what?
Well, I got to tell you, my message to Bloomberg is: don't worry, there's gun control in hell. So when you get there, you'll feel right at home.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. That guy dictates so much gun control.
Yeah, and I think there's somebody else, Tom Steyer, who's like pledged 100. I mean, all the left-wing lunatics come out and ask for this whole Kavanaugh thing, and it was all just manufactured horseshit. Paid political. I mean, yeah, if you want to, if you're George Soros or Tom Steyer, and you want to spend $110 million and to pay for paid professional protesters, you can get people to show up. I mean, it seems like it'd be easier to get a job working somewhere else, but I don't know. I guess that lady who jumped in the elevator with Flake Gut has a salary of $151,000 a year plus a $21,000 bonus for jumping in the elevator or something, according to the Wall Street Journal article today. But it's a crazy, screwed up world. I don't know.
I just don't like a lot of the tribalism where it's you're either with us or you're against us. Fuck you, I'm not with anybody. So it's kind of not a fan of that.
Well, I'm with my mates here on the Lock and Load show, so it's just that we're pretty all. But everybody that I know is like, or they're all like badass gun guys who can pretty much take care of themselves, and they don't. You know, I like spitball and prep ideas with these guys, but basically everybody knows how to take care of themselves mostly. And if somebody has some good ideas, I like spitballing and stuff, and talking about scenarios and stuff. I don't think I'd like living them. I don't want to have to bug out. I mean, I have a plan to do it if I have to, but it's not my first choice. It's not my second choice. It'll be like somewhere around planned R or something, depending on how much violence there is around here if things go bad. But definitely not something I want to happen.
No, I agree. The bug out is, especially I got a family. Bug out is the house burning down. There's something coming towards the house that we can't avoid.
Well, a big wave, a tidal wave.
Oh yeah, I'm right next to the ocean too. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm next to I'm on a little hill over the ocean, so it'd have to be a monster ass wave for me to have to move, because I'm on the 3rd floor on a building that's like, it's like, I don't know, a couple hundred feet over sea level, but it's not. It's only a block away from the beach, but it's just on a hill. So it's like. It would have to be like at least a 500-foot wave before I'd have to start running, get in the car. And that's the whole thing. It's like, if you have to bug out, and I wouldn't be able to take all my stuff with me. I mean, because unless I had a lot of time to load up the car and just make a couple hundred trips up and down the stairs to the Blazer, I mean, there's no way. I suppose I could get a cargo net and just fill it up and lower it down and then run down and hope nobody steals it before I get there. But if I have to carry everything, I mean, like just my ammo, I mean, my legs will be dead trying to carry them. I mean, it's harder carrying up the stairs than it is down the stairs, but still. And then, I mean, I don't have a 55-gallon water barrel, but I think just like if you had a 55-gallon water barrel and had to go up and down 8 flights of stairs, what's that, 200 pounds? So I have smaller water receptacles. I have like a half-sized, I got that Scepter 5-gallon one and like a 3-gallon Enviro Air, like it looks like a water bottle that you're used to seeing, except half-size, BPA free. I got at Ace. But yeah, I have smaller receptacles. I don't have. My whole thing about water is I don't believe in carrying tons of water. I believe in having lots and lots of filtration. So I could filter 1 million gallons, but I don't have to carry 1 million gallons because I could find dirty water anywhere. It's just filtering it.
What if the dirty water has rads?
Well, then you've got the rads are usually going to be attached to the metal. I mean, you would have to distill it out of there. But yeah, radiation is just, if you have a nuclear disaster, then pretty much going to be shit out of luck no matter what you do. I'm not an expert on how to deal with radioactive water, but I know that the Navy pretty much, they have evaporators, and I have mine. So I would think that distilling might get rid of it, but I'm not really certain.
Yeah, I don't know either. I was just putting it out there.
Yeah, but I do basically for my whole strategy is to just have lots of filtration and not carry lots of water. It'd be better, but it's like, just because if I had to carry like 55-gallon drums down 8 flights of stairs to the car, I mean, well, that would be I'd need like an hour break or something before I tried to climb up the stairs carrying that thing down. I mean, and you can't just like drop it or roll it down the stairs; it'll bust. So I have smaller containers, but I have lots of filtration in my medical bag, and I have hydration bladders. Is that you, Rupan, making all that noise?
It's a dryer. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. So my particular philosophy on that is just have lots of filtration, and so you don't have to. Filtration is lighter than carrying water. I mean, I have bladders in my bug-out bag and a bladder in my Mule Camelback. So my day mission bag. It's a Mule Camelback hydration bag. And so I've got the Camelback filters. I've got one in my like Mad Max. I've got a small Camelback, the smallest one they have, bladder in that Mad Max one, the South African Defense Force pattern 65, I believe. But I really have never really geared that whole. That's the one that's mostly empty, other than the hydration bladder, because that's like my combat. If I have to go into combat, I'll use that one. But I don't ever want to have to go into combat. So it's like, yeah, it's the battle South African Defense Force battle. Well, it's the one that Mad Max used. But I haven't really geared it up because there's no place that I can go where I could like carry pistols, and at least the ones I have legally, because they're not hunting caliber pistols. And I mean, I know of one person that has some property. He invited me to go shooting, but it's kind of a long way away from where I live. I haven't taken him up on it yet. But basically, I haven't geared that Mad Max rig up yet, backpack up yet, because I'm just not planning on going into combat. Ever. If I can avoid it, I won't. I can defend myself.
Could do a dry run?
Where? I mean, if I'm going to load it up with pistols and ammo and things that go boom that aren't legal.
No, the idea is you just. I mean, what I'm talking about is you're just loading it up and just making sure everything fits. I mean, you're not loading. I don't know what this rig looks like. You're not loading.
What, did you see Fury Road? Did you see Fury Road? I made a video of what it looks like, but
I watched the video, but it's been a while since I've seen that video.
Okay. That's okay. Well, it's the one Mad Max used on Fury Road. A lot of people use it for cosplay. I didn't. Shit. Just dropped something on the floor. No, I can't find it. My sunglasses just disappeared onto the floor somewhere. Oh, there they are. Sorry.
I mean,
so yeah, it's the one that he used in the Fury Road, South African Defense Force battle jacket. It's like a backpack, and I saw the movie and I wanted to have one, and so I found one. They were really hard to come by after that movie came out. They all disappeared off the eBay at an incredibly, amazingly fast rate. There's some paintball versions of it available out there, and I think are made in the UK. But I have actually one of the real South African. But it's kind of, I don't know how long it would last. It's not in that great shape. It's not in bad shape. It was an okay shape, but so I'm just.
Oh,
It's one of those things. There's some things in life that you just, in case of war, you don't break in case of war. Don't break it out
it's like a double belt, and it's got a harness that comes around the top, and it looks like almost a hydration pack.
Yeah.
On the spine there, and it's got two huge sustainment pouches.
Yeah.
But maybe looks like a bunch of mag pouches.
Yeah, that's it. The top I've got it fits the smallest Camelback they have fits in the top part of the hydration bag. So that's what I have in there for that one. But
did you try just running a bladder? It looks like maybe you could just fit a bladder in that.
There is a bladder in there. I put this very small Camelback. I mean, the Camelback has different sizes, and only their smallest one fits in there. It's because that's pretty small. A regular size one won't fit. But I mean, there's some things in life that you just. The way I look at it, because of where I live, and the way the laws are here, I mean, there's just some things that are just like, don't break open, don't break glass in case of. It's just like break open in case of war. And you just hang it in the closet and don't worry about it unless the Chinese invade Hawaii or something.
Well, I mean, my point is like, I mean, you can put empty magazines in it and test everything out and try to get the rig figured out. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get. I mean, did you see my video on the tactical assault panel?
No, I didn't. I'll go look at it this week.
Yeah, I got some Fox. Like I think it might actually be real GI stuff. But what it is they're tactical assault panels, and it's something that they've been using with the IOTV-2. Well, when the IOTV-2 came out, or when they started using it in the Army, they started sending them out as multicams. So there's a crap ton of ACU ones, I guess, that nobody wants. So I was able to pick them up for like $15 a piece, and they hold
on Sportsman Guide. On Sportsman's Guide.
It's just a tactical assault panel or a TAP.
Oh, it was a Fox brand. It was Fox brand?
No, I was saying Fox like fake. Like.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't sure if they were Haji copy.
Did you get it off of Sportsman's Guide or someplace else?
I got it off eBay.
eBay, okay. I don't use really eBay much.
I got 2 of them for $30. That's 16 loaded magazines, and they can be set up as like a Chinese or like a Viet Cong style, mag holder, or you can actually, if you have a Mali vest or something or body armor, it has little locks that allow you to lock it into the Mali.
I think the bottom line is I just am not planning on gearing up for like combat. I mean, I have stuff that will carry magazines, and I have a day mission bag that will suffice, but I haven't really put together like a battle rattle kind of a rig and actually used it because.
Oh, this takes AK mags?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it'll definitely.
Wow, I mean, it's expensive for what? I mean, I guess.
Well, I got it. I didn't get it. It didn't cost me that much, but it's. I have multiple things that'll take AK mags. I have like I have a AK battle vest, mag pouch vest, but really, I don't ever plan on going into combat.
Varush Stelika has one for €40.
Well, I swear, if I go on Sportsman Guides, I'll probably wind up like buying a whole bunch of tactical milsurp crap, So I try not to do it. I just got an email from them, like new milsurp stuff, and it's like, oh boy. I mean, it's like I could just go in there. I really wanted to get there. I almost bought the last time I was on that. They just got back in stock their military French fry potato cutters. They cut you stick a potato in, press the liver down, and it makes French fries out of them. I mean, you have to fry them or something, cook them. But I was like, man, that's cool. I want one of those. I mean, I can't deep fry them in oil, but I mean, some kind of air frying thing or something. I could cook them or bake them and then dip them in ketchup. But that would be really cool. I've always wanted to be able to just slice my own French fries without having to use a knife and just, put it in one of those things. It's basically a wire thing that pushed it and forced the potato through there. Just like, they had it on Sportsman's Guide, and plus they look at all the other more standard type of battle rig stuff. But really, I haven't really put together a full battle rig because I'm not ever planning on going into battle. And if the shit hits the fan, that won't be combat either. I mean, carrying a gun is different than like putting on a full assault vest for doing some kind of serious combat, which I won't need to do that unless Chinese invade the Big Island, which I just don't think there's nothing here worth it for the Chinese to invade. What are they going to do here?
I'm just telling. I know you got lots of mags, so
lots of them, yeah.
Just throwing a bunch of mags in there, maybe a rag or something. Call it a day. You don't have to. I mean, you don't even have to load them, I guess. But I mean,
well, I've got loaded AK mags.
There's laws against having loaded mags because you can just fill that thing up. That looks like you could really fill it up. I like that it's pretty versatile.
Yeah, but you know, when it comes to setting up something for combat, I mean, I would need first aid stuff. I kind of overthink it, so it.
You're going to end up using your pockets more than likely, but having something, I mean, you already have it. It's not like you're thinking about ordering it. I mean, just throw shit in there. Maybe an Israeli bandage.
Well, I've got that in all my other. I've got Israeli bandages in all of my other kits, and my medical kit is just like tons of bandages. But my medical kit's too big. If I wear it, basically I can pick one thing, you know, for a backpack. I can take the bug out bag for a backpack. I could take my day mission bag, which is my Camelback Mule, and that has all kinds of bandages and shit in it. Or I could take my medical bag as a backpack. That doesn't have a hydration bladder, but it's really bulky. It's that Lambda bag, so that's like a bag that I would give. Okay, here I'd give that to somebody and say who didn't know what they were doing and say, okay, you're carrying all the medical gear and food, so it's all in this big gigantic bag. You take it. I have an empty duffel bag that just fill with Mountain House and give it to somebody else. That's what my grandfather did when they bugged out of Poland when the Nazis were after him, after all the Jews, basically. And he said, basically, people went to my grandfather and asked him, "Can you?" Because he was bugging out, and they said, "Can you take us with you? And you know, we'll pay you." And he was like, "No, I'm not taking your money to help you escape the Nazis. That's free. But if you could do me a favor and carry he would some of my stuff, I'd really appreciate it." So he would just take a bed sheet, put some of his possessions in it, and these people would carry his stuff for him as they were sneaking across the Russian border, the frontier. And he didn't charge them anything to help them sneak across the border. He just, here, carry some of my stuff. I'll help you. No, I don't want your money. And I mean, it wouldn't do them any good because the Russians kind of Polish money I don't think would be any good after Poland was no longer existed for a period of time. There was just Germany and Russia, and Poland was exterminated by and large. So it basically, I have like some empty duffel bags that I could give to people and fill up with like Mountain House or ammo or whatever, and use people as pack mules if they wanted to help me or something, if they needed some help. Say, okay, I'll help you out. Just carry the stuff for me. And but basically, I have 3 prepared bags, but I really haven't done a combat battle rattle kind of rig. It might be fun to if I had 50 acres and nothing out in the back of the subdivision and I wouldn't bother anybody, just having fun doing it. But unless I need to, I mean, I have stuff that I haven't used because I don't need to. And you could think of it like insurance. Yeah, you have medical insurance, but you don't want to ever have to use it. Because that'll mean you're sick. And so, yeah, I don't want to have to use my battle vest because I don't want to have to go into battle. I mean, there's a difference between just like making your way through, some kind of dystopian future, and then having a full combat load, like you're assaulting a hill in a war. I mean, or something. And
that's why I treat these things like I got like an FLC fighting load carrier, and I got 2 TAPs, so they just load it up. That's it. I mean, they're just mag carriers, and I mean, it is what it is. They're not, I don't ever plan to use any of them, but I mean, as they sit, they're just mag carriers, and if you had to, you could throw it on. But
yeah, I have like double taco mags that I could throw onto a belt. I have those French leather milsurp mag carriers, and I've got like a shotgun pouch that's full of pistol magazines too that I could throw on a belt. But
I mean, the idea is this is just a mag carrier. If you had to, you could throw it over you like an LDV and move, but they're not like, these aren't set up like ready to go, battle rattle, ready to lock and load. That's not how they're set up. These are just set up to be mag carriers, so that way they're easy to grab. So if you had to, you could just grab it by the back of it and pull it right out. And yeah, that's right. There's no reason you're ever gonna, in your lifetime, ever probably ever need to use it. But just think of the guy who was he across the street from that mass shooting. He grabbed his AR and he was like loading the bullets into the mag as he was running out the door with no shoes on. So
isn't that all the way it happens? That you're not prepared when it happens. But I mean, I wouldn't grab I mean, if that was the case, where I live, I would take my hunting rifle, put in a 5-round mag with my bolt action, Mini Mauser bolt action, and line up the bad guy in my loophole scope. And
well, he's lucky he didn't have a failure, because if you had a failure with automatics, you want to have, or semi-automatics, you want to have an extra mag with some ammo in it, because if there's something wrong with that mag or something happens, you got to drop the mag racket, you got another mag ready to go. And I mean, I'm not advocating that this is ever. I mean, you're probably going to be struck with lightning twice before something like this happens to you. But the idea that you just got it, and to me, it like keeps it together. There's not just like an area full of mags or a box full of mags or something. These mags are indexed somewhere where I know if I open a case, I can grab the vests right out and I get the mags right in.
Yeah. I think it's just that I wouldn't consider a shit hit the fan scenario to be like automatically instant combat, kind of a scenario. I mean, it could happen. I don't think the first thing that'll happen is when the power goes out and the internet stops working and the bank seize up, is that people will start shooting each other right away. People will just be like, what the hell is going on? And I might.
Where I keep this stuff stored, it's not very easily accessible for me either. So I got them set up and indexed, but like it's not easily accessible for me. So
well, for me, my day mission bag is accessible. My gas mask bag is accessible. My medical bag is accessible. My bug out bag is in the closet. I have to go walk up the stairs and go get it. But and my Glock is always ready to go, and so is my subcompact, because I just sleep. It's right on the table right by where I sleep, so like a French lawn chair kind of deal. And so
I'm loving the Caltech Sub 2000. That's
a shotgun. That's the shotgun that people were complaining about for a while, but then it seemed like they fixed the problem.
You're thinking of the KSG.
Okay.
No, the Sub 2000 is the 9mm one that can take Glock mags.
Well, I will be glad if they let us, if somehow the stupid laws of Hawaii get challenged and to the Supreme Court, and they let me have a Roni, because I really want a Roni. That's what I really love to have.
This is pretty much, so what it is it folds in half. So you lock the bolt to the rear, and you push the trigger guard down, and you fold the whole 16-inch barrel up and over and around. And what's nice about it is it weighs like 4-point-something pounds.
That's light.
It's not great. Sure, it's not great. It's not great at all. But if you're going to engage someone 0 to 100 yards, you're good. And they said, what do they say? Chronographed, you're looking at like a 9 mil. You're looking at like the out of a 16-inch barrel is like a 357. Someone was saying, I don't even care about that. To me, it takes Glock mags. It folds up. I want to hide it somewhere, get some hideaway furniture or something where James Bond, you press a button and then this rolls. This, the table folds open and then the gun, comes up on a little elevator. So, anyways, it was like $460, and people say it's crap. People say it's not reliable. I've put a couple hundred through it. The only time it ever screwed up was when I put the aluminum ammo through it. The aluminum cased ammo.
Speaking of,
yeah.
I was going to talk. Did you see Squib's Lamat video?
I did.
What'd you think of the Lamat?
I want one, but I can't afford $1,000 for it. And I've never seen Westworld before. I've seen like one episode, I think, but I've wanted one for a while since I saw a video, I don't know, back in 2014, and I've always kind of wanted one.
Well, it would be interesting. I thought it would be interesting to own for historical value, but when I thought about it and watched his videos, like, my GP100 is so much easier and practical. That said, if I was General Beauregard in the Confederate War, I mean, the way the wars were fought mostly was, my understanding is that both the Confederates lined up in a line on one side at whatever time of day. Maybe they took them until 1 p.m. A little after lunch, people would line up in a line and then shoot each other in an orderly military fashion. And that's not how they do combat. But back then, if I was a general and I could, have breakfast, have my coffee, go spend like 2 hours to load the damn thing and have it ready to go. And it might, after, like, if I did it every day and got used to it, doing it every day, and that was my pistol, I could see how that could be just a relaxing thing to do before you have to go into battle and see like 2,000 people slaughtered and standing in a line shooting each other. I mean, I could see just loading it before battle, but as a practical everyday pistol in the modern era, it's like, no, I'll stick with my GP100. It was cool, but it was just, I could see why everybody would want to see it at the range, but I don't think I would want one.
Somebody told me in Westworld, he uses centerfire pistol cartridges, and the middle is like a 12-gauge shotgun shell or something.
Having a shotgun and a pistol is pretty cool, but I actually have a real shotgun. If I want a real shotgun, I can use one.
Well, I mean, first off, if you try to do that, the revolver would probably blow into pieces. But I mean, you couldn't get a shotgun shell. I think it's cool because for it's something that's rare. It's weird. Even for back then, when you think about the type of revolvers kicking around, I think it's cool. And I think if you get into like this super military simulation, to really like go back to Flint, if you're getting into flintlocks or something, or you want to, let's say you have the military sim stuff now, hey, let's go back another 800 years. Let's see what they're doing back then, just for fun.
But when you think what General Beauregard would have to do, I mean, he would load it once a day, and he wouldn't really need to reload it in a panic or anything. He would just load it up before the battle, right? And in the morning after breakfast, and he could take his time, and there wasn't any panic to load it, and he could just have fun reloading it, and just relax.
Probably had like his bitch probably loaded it for him. He probably didn't load it.
Well, if you're going to go into battle, you want to make sure it's done right, I would think. You wouldn't want to assign it to some flunky to reload your pistol that you're going to bet your life on.
Well, I mean, what was it? I forget where I was going with that. I don't know. I mean, I was looking last night at some of the prices for some of the black powder revolvers you can get, the repos that are reproductions that are kind of short money, and I don't know. I don't have a place to store any of that stuff, and I know that it's going to cost a lot more money. Squib brought that up, and I knew that obviously. I've watched a couple of Hickok videos, a couple of Iraq veterans, some other people made some videos about using black powder firearms, and I'm not there yet. Once I start reloading, I get a man cave or something, then yeah, I'll be there. But as of right now, I'm not there.
Yeah, well, everybody has their priorities in life, and yeah, black powder stuff is way down there on my list. I mean, it'd be cool. I don't think I'd pick a Lamet. It seemed like the Coat Walker was a little more practical. I mean, a reproduction with modern metallurgy, but the problem here in Hawaii is that the black powder is just too hard to come by right now, and it's like almost impossible to come by on a big island. So
also, what kind of sucks is there's only one way to unload it, and I always love. I've seen a bunch of reenactments, like Revolutionary War reenactments. I've seen a crap ton of them, and it's always funny when you go see the Battle of Lexington and Concord, and the dudes. What is it? The story of the guys before. It was like a British reconnaissance unit, and they captured Paul Revere or something. And the what is it? The colonials are like standing around, and they're getting pissed because no one was showing up. Paul wasn't showing up, and they're pissed. And they're like, "Dude, fuck this. We're going to the bar." So they walk over, and like this reconnaissance unit grabbed Paul, and the guys are over at the bar. I guess they were like a couple streets away or something, and they unloaded their firearms into the berm next to the bar because I guess you're not allowed to bring a loaded black powder rifle into the bar. So that scared the unit. Like they ran for their lives, and they left Paul right there. So then Paul went to the bar, knew they were coming back, and just drank until they showed up. So when the thing starts, you see Paul run out of the bar, and he's holding like a shoebox or some crap, and it's got all of like the receipts, everybody's name who's like loyal to the revolution.
Well, the bars used to print their own currency, and it was, speaking of currency and stuff going bad, but they used to print. I mean, this country was built on funny money. People that printed. I mean, literally, bars had their own currencies. People liked to pay with out-of-state currency from different states because they could forge it. It's like if you're like somewhere in the north, like if you're in Maine or something, then somebody shows up from Georgia or something with some Georgia state currency, then I guess, well, you don't know what the hell Georgia currency looks like. So even if they printed it themselves, you had no way to tell if it was real or fake. So I mean, and bars would just print their own money that were good in the bar, and that was so all you needed was a printing press in those days, and that's the whole thing with fiat currencies and central banking. It's just it makes people like silver and gold but only if you hold on to it, and the real thing is that if there's a banking crisis and all they're in people's investments that they think are real gold, that they'll blame it on silver and gold being a terrible investment, but it was the whole concept of holding things in street name in a brokerage or just hypothecated paper certificates instead of actually physically holding on to it. And so I don't know. Anyway, I have a nice gold and silver, mostly silver stash, but I think that it'll be great vampires don't like silver. So if a vampire shows up, I could like throw a bunch of silver in the doorway and you probably won't want to try and get me. But since Vladimir the Impaler already saved Europe, I don't think he's going to be around to save Hawaii. I'll have to save it myself. But hopefully I won't have to impale anybody, you know.
One man, one way. HVS needed to save Hawaii. Hopefully he doesn't have to impale anybody.
Yeah, so
One solution.
Yeah, so if there's like 1,000 Chinese people, army guys that like get off a boat and invade Hawaii, then what I'll do is I'll shoot them all, and then I'll impale them along the beach so they can see off from offshore that it was a bad idea to come here. And of course, I'll gather all the AKs and sell them off. But yeah, I mean, pickups from a battlefield would be pretty valuable. So yeah, I'll be if the Chinese army hits the beach, I'll be like shooting them and collecting their rifles. But I'll probably be using my CZ to do it from a distance. I'll tell you that. Because I like to do it from a distance.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a fun group of guys to go up against.
No, that Chinese. That's a military. Yeah, I would snipe them. I wouldn't like get into CQB if I had to. But yeah, this would be the wrong place to land, China. Don't pick the big island. You'd be in trouble. I mean, there's a lot of hunters here who could hit a deer right between the eyes at like 500 yards, and I've seen the pictures. So from other guys I've met at like the local hunting shop, but anyway. All right, Squib has not been talking at all for this whole show. He's just sitting there, probably drinking, or I don't know what he's doing. Cleaning his Lamat, probably.
Huh? Somebody say something?
No, you can go back to sleep now.
Okay.
Come on, wake up, dude. What time is it there?
I don't know. Somebody was talking about a boring movie, and somebody was talking about money that isn't real. And
we were talking about your Lamat. We've been talking about your Lamat for the last half hour, dude.
Well. Yeah. Oh, that takes about that long to load it.
Oh, Nuttin' Fancy bought a $315 pair of pants.
$315 for a pair of pants?
It's a 40-minute video. It's the Cry combat pants. Apparently, like the Navy SEALs and the SF guys all get them. And it's the
I don't see how well, I have knee pads, but I don't need any specific pair of pants to put on knee pads.
Yeah, the knee pads are built into them, but you got to buy them separately, and it all comes out to about $315. And they don't really sell to the civilian market, apparently. So,
you know, I can shoot just as good wearing cargo shorts, or I can shoot just as good wearing my swimming trunks.
Well, I mean, he calls them shit, and he actually pretty much tells you where to find airsoft pants that are almost complete knockoffs that are like $86, and it comes with the knee pads built in.
I got something that's pretty good for pants recently. Was it 511? I should go see what the hell they were. They're pretty good. Somebody did a video on them, and I checked them out, and I got them on sale, and they were pretty nice.
Oh, these are for like running gunning. If you're like doing nonstop running gunning, or
yeah, well, I can do that with cargo shorts.
Well, no. This is like if you got to jump on your knees or you got to get down quick, you're gonna wear them out quickly.
So, yeah, well, I do have knee pads, tactical knee pads. The last time I wore my tactical knee pads and shit, was when I was at the range, and that guy with the SIG rifle, didn't look down range and was like shooting at the target that was like 10 feet away from where I was standing. And I said, what part of range safe don't you understand, asshole?
Knee pads suck. So knee pads fall down all the time. They cut off the circulation. Those pants are meant for combat. They're not meant for really anything else. So that's why he did a review on them. But what I thought was kind of crazy that he kind of took a swing at everybody.
You're roboting. You're roboting.
So he took a swing at everybody. Can you hear me now?
Your volume's really low.
Yeah. So he kind of took a swing at everybody, and the swing that he took was airsofters probably use these pants more than you do.
Right. Well,
because airsoft people are always, it's the whole sport. You're not shooting at a static range with airsoft. You're running around, you're jumping, you're sliding. So he kind of like took a swing at everybody at the end who always like the super combat guys. I got to buy $400 pair of Cry Precision pants. And he's like, I don't know.
Oh, Cry Precision. I've heard of those. They were expensive. And I said, why would I want these? Are too expensive. I mean, price is important to me. I mean, I don't mind spending money on something that's quality, but I don't like look for expensive things to buy because somebody in special forces with a tactical beard uses one.
Well, that's what's funny is that he's been using the. I've noticed him wearing those pants. He's been using the airsoft version, and people are all like, "Oh, airsoft sucks. It's not going to be as strong."
All right, yeah. Now that since we've spent like 10 minutes talking about pants, I'm gonna go see the ones that I got, and because they're in the other room, and I just forgot the fucking brand that they are. 1 second, give me like 10 seconds to go grab these pants.
I got a pair of
papers
pants, and for work, and they're stretchy. Makes me feel like I need to have Velcro shoes with them. I don't care how tactical they look. I feel like they should come with a pair of Velcro shoes in the 1911. They're stretchy. There. Well, so I got a kick out of watching. If anyone's listening, I got a kick out of watching Nut and Fancy's video about the pants because I watched his other silly review about the pants, the 511 pants. And I don't know, I was washing dishes, cleaning up, had to clean out the microwave, had to clean off the stove, had to do some other stuff. I'm already up to speed on Forgotten Weapons. I was up to speed on a lot of the other videos. I needed like a longer format video that would allow me to clean and not have to stop what I'm doing and wipe my hands off to go ahead and, start pressing buttons on the phone or whatever, start touching the screen. So just watching the 40-minute Nut and Fancy video was something I could do. And so it's the same way I watched the previous Nut and Fancy video about pants. Was I was doing something else, and I just had it on in the background. And, that's the type of gear review we all think is ridiculous, because if anything ever happens, you're going to be wearing either your underwear, or you're going to probably be wearing actual regular shitty pants. So even thinking, I mean, the combat thing is one thing, but when you start talking about pants...
Knocked over 2 hats, got my neckerchief, and I can't find my flashlight. Here just a minute ago. Here it is. It's sitting on the desk, too. All right, where's my earbuds? Okay, they're True Spec. They're like some new True Spec pants that I got. You guys there?
Yeah, what type of material is it?
Well, I got my flashlight here. I'll turn on the lights for you. It's somebody on YouTube did a recommendation. I looked at them and they look good, and I bought them and I really like them. Let's see what it says. Made in Indonesia. Shell something. It's hard to read this. Shell polyester cotton, something, a 65% polyester, 35% cotton, contrast.
Is it ripstop?
It's got different kinds of material. It's not all ripstop. Some of it is. Some of it's like, it's not spandex, but it's like, it's got like stretch to it.
Yeah, 511. 511.
Oh, now you're roboting again, or you're just, your mic's freaking out. I'll turn on the camera so you can see him real quick. But I have to use my flashlight because it's late night and dark in here. There we go. Camera.
Yeah, I don't know if my mic was working, but I was talking about pants while you were gone.
Okay. I don't know if you can, this is going to be hard to see, but pants. This has got the front pockets have got this little. Right now, I've got my practice tool, karambit tool, not one with a blade in. But this little is like on the top of this pocket. It's supposed to be for your cell phone. You're supposed to be able to stick a cell phone in there instead. But I have a practice karambit tool in there right now. It's got. It's just really comfortable. It's kind of got a stretchy. Not waistband, but like, I don't know, the butt is or something. And it's tapered. I really like it. I forgot, I'll have to go see which True Spec one it is. I think I got it from Tactical Gear. Somebody did a review of these particular True Spec pants. I'll go find the order for it since we're talking about pants. They're pretty good. Jesus
yeah, they
Christ.
look all right. They don't look bad at all.
Well, for some reason,
yeah, I was just.
What's up with this flashlight? It's my flashlight that's dying. Okay, this flashlight's dead. That was a cheap one anyway. I've got more of them. I just don't have one here. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, I was just saying that while you were gone, I was filling the dead air, and I was just saying that I always had to clean the microwave. I had to clean off the stove. I had to wash a bunch of dishes, and I'd already watched all the shorter videos on YouTube in my feed today, so that's the only reason I watched the pants review. And I got a real laugh out of Nut and Fancy making fun of the tactical guys, being like, "Hey, dude, airsofters use these pants. I've been running these pants for years. The airsoft pants, they're great. They're perfect. And there's no need. You know, regular people, even people who do running, don't need
the airsoft. They have a airsoft. There's like the British in the UK. They have like an airsoft version of that South African Defence Force Pattern 65 that Mad Max used, and it looks better than the actual ones because the actual ones that you get off the internet are pretty much have been beat up a little because they were really used by the real army, and so if you get the airsoft ones, they're going to be brand new and in good shape.
Yeah, now I just thought it was hilarious that, you know, he was like, oh yeah, I don't know, he made fun of people saying that the airsoft guys, that's all they do is do running gunning. They're not, you know, shooting plastic BBs at soft targets. I don't know if you ever watched any airsoft matches, but people are getting kind of crazy with that stuff. There's one dude who runs around with a knife half the time. In an airsoft game, he sneaks up on people. Yeah, he's Novorosich or something. He's this Dutch dude.
As long as nobody gets hurt, it's all fun and games, you know.
Well, it's like a fake knife, but the idea is he kills people in airsoft, large matches with he knifes people.
Right, in simulated, not for real. Right, like you're saying, it's not a real, not a live edge. Knives kill people. They've been killing people for centuries. Let me just do this. It was Tactical. What's the name of that damn store that I use? Tacticalgear.com. Let me. Yeah, that must have been it that I bought from. Let me do it. Let me search my email here. Do AOL search. Tactical Gear. I'm pretty sure that's the store I bought it from, online shop. And if I could find my order. Tactical gear shipping notification. That must be the one. Got to have pictures of it. I have to go order numbers and log into my account just to see what the hell it was that I bought. Even though I'm holding the pants right here, they don't have that. All I know is that they were. Oh, great! It just shows me. Let me see if I. Oh, okay, it sent me to the post office. Of course, it was delivered in August. All right. Here we are in October. Great. It has a link to the. I'll have to log on to my tactical gear account.com account. See what the hell the name of these pants were that I like so much. All right. Sign in and earn free tactical gear. Yeah, if I could only remember what the hell my password was for this thing.
The hell is Highlander camo?
Highlander, that's Cryptek. That's Cryptek. That's Cryptek camo, Highlander. Recent order. Here they are. I might even order another pair. Oh, I've got $5.77 of rewards saved up. Okay, they're the here. I'm going to screen share this. They're the True Spec 24-7 series expedition pants. Let me hit the screen share button so you can actually see these. Instead of my flashlight, I think the bulb was dying on it, which leads me to something else I have to fix. Can you see this?
Yep.
All right, they have different colors. I got this khaki one. I didn't want all the super cool tactical colors, but I'll just these are them. It's got the front pockets have this little thing where you can slip your phone right in on from the top and not have to like open the pocket actually. And they're very comfortable. They've got this stretchy. Here's the backside view. Yeah, it's like the butt is stretchy or something. I don't know, but it's very comfortable. It's tapered. It's not like the legs just. It's tapered as it goes down your legs, and but it comes in all kinds of different cool colors. Here's the one that I guess tactical people might like, the black and olive or something, but I didn't go for that. I just got plain khaki. They've got multicam, black. If you want to go, like, I'm a SEAL Team 6 guy, so I got black. All right, whatever.
Yeah.
But the one I got is this khaki version, and I like them. $67 on sale, and I think I have some $5 and a few cents, and I'll wait for like the next sale, and maybe I'll get another pair. But these were good. I like them, and I recommend them. So if you like, it's their new Expedition Series pants from True Spec. So I'm going to say check those out if you need tactical pants.
Yeah, I definitely will.
And there's your tactical tip of the day. We had the Bushcraft challenge, the tactical tip of the day. Talked about silver cryptos. I mean, what else do you guys want? We got it all. Let's see. Make it out here. Probably nobody is typing anything in the external since General Relativity came in and left. Steve D was out there. General Relativity had typed earlier, I'm Native American Iroquois, used to We use large flints for axe heads. Bone must be a Hollywood or Southwest thing. Okay. I don't know. I'm not Native American. I wouldn't know. But I really like the DVD. And it was, I know Squib doesn't like it when I talk about movies, but tough shit. I like to talk about movies. All right. I think I covered, we got Vlad the Impaler in for Halloween because it's October. And I thought that was a pretty interesting historical tidbit that people wouldn't normally know. That it was Vlad the Impaler that fought off the Ottoman Empire when they tried to invade Europe. I'm sure he had a little bit of help, but I'll try not to talk about any more movies for the rest of the show since we're coming to the end anyway. Did you have other Second Amendment stuff you said you wanted to bring up? Every Second Matters stuff?
I'll wait till I run a show. There's a lot.
Okay. What was I going to say about Kavanaugh? I'm glad it's fucking over. I mean, that whole thing was painful to watch. And it's like, I can't tell you how much some of those, I mean, I think Cory Booker and Mazie Hirono want to run for the Democratic nomination for president or something. But because they were just like prostituting their politics for that, to come up with bullshit to say about somebody who's just didn't do any of the things that they accused him of. So, as far as I could tell, that professor wrote a paper on how to manufacture memories. I mean, and it's just what I really didn't believe about her whole delivery was the which I said I think last week or the week before, was the monotone emotion. I mean, when you saw Kavanaugh testify, he was angry, he was proud, he was sad, he was indignant, he was crying, but it wasn't a monotone. It was like she was thinking about something to manufacture a sad, pouty, and it was the same flatness all the way through. That's a professional psychologist, manufacturing an emotion. And she wrote a paper on how to manufacture memories. I just don't believe a thing she said. It takes more than a pouty face. And it just, the way her motion was just so flat and monotone, I couldn't believe her. I mean, if she was real, she would have been angry, she would have been sad, but it would have been flat like that. So maybe she did she wrote her paper about. She wrote an academic paper on how to manufacture memories in therapy. And that's why the therapist's notes, I think, were never delivered to the committee, is because that was the reason. So it's just, not only was there no evidence, there was evidence that was exculpatory on her testimony for Kavanaugh, and they didn't want to give over exculpatory evidence. Why should they? It wasn't a criminal trial. It wasn't fair at all. I mean, it's like, let me tell you what you're guilty of, and then I will give you a chance to prove your innocence, except you don't get to have any evidence or interview or witnesses or see anything. It's just such horseshit from top to bottom. Anyway, everybody's got an assignment to try and make a bone tomahawk or do a bushcrafting thing, and you found some new tactical expedition pants. I like them so much, I'm probably going to get another pair. I don't know if I actually get another color other than khaki, because khaki is more of an everyday thing that you can wear anywhere. I don't know if I need like the multicam version or anything. That looks too tactical. This is like you could go gray man with khaki, because everybody wears khaki around here in Hawaii. Khaki cargo shorts or something. like that, or khaki pants is pretty common. So they're tactical pants, but they don't have to look like, you know, you're slinging a rifle or something. I mean, but it would work for that. And so I think that should pretty much cover our show for today. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Give us a thumbs up if you can. And we'll try and have a show next week. God willing and the river don't rise. God bless America. Take care of yourselves out there.
Hell yeah.